The idea that fat people are promoting obesity is nonsense.
I know. Not everybody can achieve this. So skinny.
Skinny legend.
Skinny legend. Soak it in. Soak it in, boys.
Today I'd like to take a moment to glorify obesity. Yes.
Supporters of the fat acceptance movement believe that all bodies are worthy of love and respect, regardless of size. They advocate for social justice and equality for obese people, and they work to challenge the stigma and discrimination that fat people face. Fat acceptance activists argue that fatness is a natural variation in the human body size, so it is not inherently unhealthy. They also point out that the stigma associated with fatness can lead to many negative consequences, including mental health problems, social isolation, and discrimination in employment and healthcare. Fat acceptance activists work to promote positive body image and self-love for obese people. They encourage stout people to celebrate their bodies and to reject the negative stereotypes that our society often places on them. Fat acceptance activists also work to educate the public about fat phobia and discrimination. The fat acceptance movement is diverse and inclusive. It includes people of all races, ethnicities, genders, sexual orientations, and abilities. It also embraces people of all sizes, from thin to fat. The fat acceptance movement promotes unhealthy lifestyle.
Am I not worth worshipping? I am.
What's out of touch is thinking that losing weight brings you closer to health.
This is one of the most common criticisms of the fat acceptance movement. Critics argue that promoting the idea that fat people can be healthy at any size, the organization encourages fat people to be overweight or obese. They dispute that the movement ignores the well-established scientific evidence that obesity is a critical risk factor for many chronic diseases.
They are even blaming doctors for being fat phobic
Because of blatant medical fat phobia, the provider blamed everything on my weight.
because, of course, instead of telling you that you're at risk for diabetes, they should be telling you how beautiful you are and that you shouldn't change yourself.
Another common criticism of the fat acceptance movement is that it is unrealistic. Critics argue that it is impossible to be healthy at any size. They point to the overwhelming scientific evidence that obesity increases the risk factor for several chronic diseases. They also argue that the fat acceptance movement ignores the evidence that many rotund people experience health problems such as joint pain, sleep apnea, and breathing difficulties.
If you work out strictly for appearance-based reasons, you are fat phobic.
Some critics argue that the fat acceptance movement is divisive because it alienates people who are trying to lose weight and people who are concerned about the health risks of obesity. They also argue that the movement creates a false dichotomy between fat and thin people.
So intentional weight loss, so you purposely saying, I want to lose 20 pounds, is fat phobic. And you might be like, what? Oh my goodness, I'm not trying to be fat phobic, but you are, you're being fat phobic to yourself. Why do you want to lose 20 pounds? It's probably to fit into something smaller. It's probably so people treat you better. It's probably for all the reasons that fat folks are shamed simply for being fat.
No, friend, it's to avoid heart disease. Recently. They're called categories, if you will, and they determine who sits where on the oppression spectrum. If you're a size 18, you're significantly less oppressed than an infinifat, and therefore aren't positioned to contradict the opinions of the fatter-ups.
That some people get so infuriated by the
Okay, I actually rant in my head about this all the time because I think there's so much politics wrapped up in how people take their coffee and what we say about them. And I think a lot of it just comes down to fat phobia and sexism.
What started as a movement for the betterment of overweight people who face stigma has now been hijacked by radical perpetual victims who are now the perpetrators of the same injustices they were condemning from others for years.
And don't forget how poorly they treated Adele when she lost weight. They threw her under the bus when she decided to get healthy. Also, this person.
I actually feel kind of guilty for being a part of this movement. I see a lot of fat girls who gained a lot of weight from being caught up in this movement and turning around 5, 6, 7 years later talking about, damn, I let my health go. I got this problem now. I'm 400 pounds. I can't do this. I can't do that. Because when you're in your 20s, you think that life is just rainbows and candy. You don't even think about the future. But when you start creeping up in age, babes, it's gonna catch up to you. I don't care what nobody say. Now you're 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, whatever the case is, and you're like, damn, I can't get pregnant. I have this problem. I got that problem. The problems creep up, babe. And the reality is, loving yourself also includes taking care of your body. But let's be fucking for real. Health is real. Organs failing is real. Diabetes, heart disease, all that is real, okay? So to the younger girls, the younger generation, take care of your health. It's not fat phobic to take care of your health. It's not a joke. And I'm saying this out of love, not out of self-hate.
They harassed this person so much for trying to warn young people about the health issues of obesity that she deleted the video.
Whether it's being labeled fat phobic for exercising, buying bigger sizes in clothes.
Y'all tell big girls to cover up and wear clothes that fit, but then make wearing oversized clothing a fashion trend to where all the larger sizes are being bought out by skinny women. But no, y'all ain't fat phobic.
Fat phobia should make you uncomfortable because it is intertwined with every single other system of oppression that exists. It is related to sexism, racism, homophobia, xenophobia, classism. And so when you talk about one, you talk about it all.
What do you want from body positivity? Because I have been struggling now for 2 years on this app to figure out why skinny people keep making videos like this, and then they have never made a video saying what A, they would like to contribute to a body positive movement, and B, what it is they would like from the fat people,
particularly the fat black women,
who birthed body positivity into existence. What structural discrimination, what marginalization are you experiencing that you need our support for? And are you willing to do the work to unlearn your fat phobia in the process? Or do you want us to just be okay with the fact that you have insecurities about gaining weight and being fat or looking fat?
Hey, fat people aren't mad at you because you lost weight. They're mad because the second you did, you used your thin privilege to body check, shit on other fat creators, and discredit a movement started in the 1960s
by fat, black, queer, and disabled women
to fight against fat oppression. You're not under attack because you're skinny now. You're under attack because you're fat phobic.
We need to talk about a major problem I've been seeing in the body positivity movement lately.
One point this girl actually makes on her video is a point I really like that she brought up, but the way she talks about it is all wrong. She brings up how body dysmorphia and eating disorders are mental health issues, and I totally agree. But what she doesn't seem to understand is that just because you have a mental health issue surrounding your body, that does not inherently mean you have a marginalized body. People with marginalized bodies are fat people, people of color, trans people, disabled people. Think bodies that are literally systemically oppressed by society. The body positivity isn't about like self-acceptance or insecurities, it's about making sure people aren't systemically oppressed because of their body. So just because you may suffer from an eating disorder or body dysmorphia, that does not mean that you don't also have body privilege. Say it with me, guys, if you don't have a marginalized body, the body positivity movement is not for you.
It really bothers me when fat people get this question, who wants to be oppressed? That's just a Republican talking point. It's null, it's void, nada. I love going into the doctor for any sickness, any ailment, and having it be either attributed to my gender or my weight or both. It's usually weight. We don't want to be denied surgeries. We don't want to be denied medical care. We don't want people harassing us on the street. We don't want people hooking up with us just so it can be an inside joke with your friends. We don't want to be harassed online. We don't want to have no clothing options. It isn't that fat people want to be oppressed. It's that we are, and we're not going to shut up about it because we want it to change. We want to stop being oppressed. Just because you don't see it from your privilege
or blah 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 blah. It is obvious now that this isn't about obese people having a better standard of living or better treatment from the general public anymore. It is either you go along with their foolishness or you're now enemy number one. Enemy spotted. And with all the incentive to keep more people obese rather than focus on ways to curb it, it is clear that there is an entity that is propelling obesity as another form of victimhood. When people are seen more as livestock rather than intelligent beings capable of independent thought, it makes financial sense. So, what now? Was the depiction of the humans of the future from the movie Wall-E dead on? Are we all doomed to end up as corporate dairy cattle, to be bred, fed, and milked to oblivion, only to be turned into hamburger meat when we are considered spent by the big corp? Alright, maybe I'm exaggerating a bit, but despite that, we are slowly getting to a point where it is damn near undeniable. What are your thoughts on this? We'd love to hear from you in the comment section. And if you're interested in discovering how a family of 3 scammed South Africans out of multi-millions, then watch this video.